This man looks at me and says, if you had to choose, would you rather or
serial killers are on Tinder.
He went to go get a shovel. He went to go get a suitcase, which was empty when it came in and packed to the brim when it went out.
Women are actually scared for their lives on these dating apps.
First of all, you were super aggressive. You want to meet in the middle of nowhere. Second of all, you want my address. You're like, want to pick me up, whatever. And now you found me on Facebook.
Like, this world is crazy, man.
Okay, let's go.
Hello guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome babes. Please do well to subscribe to my channel and turn on your post notifications, okay, so that each time I do post you'll be first to be notified, okay? Thank you. And if you are a returning subscriber, my love, my babes, baby, you are welcome back. You are welcome back. I have been receiving a lot of support on my videos recently. I get encouragement, compliments, people telling me to keep pushing, and I just want to use this, short time to say thank you very much. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your support, liking, commenting, sharing. I see you guys. Some people share my videos. Thank you so much. I'm sure by the time I post this video we'll be at 500 subscribers, which is crazy because that's within a month span I've gotten almost 400 subscribers, and it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much. Today we are going to be reacting to videos and story times of people who have experienced the absolute worst Tinder dates and how they got out of it and what happened basically. And let me tell you something, the tea is piping hot, okay? Let's get right into this video, sir.
I'm about to tell you about one of the scariest dates I have ever been on in my life. I don't normally do story times about dates on my page, but this one was genuinely so terrible that it has to be talked about. Also, trigger warning for topics related to SA. So I met this guy on Tinder, and we actually talked a lot back and forth before we decided to meet in person. He eventually asked me out, and we decided to meet at a bar that was close to where we both live. And y'all, when I tell you, I was so stoked when he showed up because he was just as attractive in person, if not more. We sit down, we order some drinks, and we're having such a good time. This was legit one of the best dates that I had been on. We literally talked for hours. We shut the bar down. So at that point, it was genuinely going really great. We had a ton in common, and one of the things I liked about him a lot is that he was a doctor. And yes, I confirmed this online. I could find him on healthgrades.com. And yeah, before you guys say anything about it, it's hot that he was a doctor. I like that responsible, educated energy. After the date, he was walking me back to my car, and he asked me if I wanted to go back to his place. And to be honest, I kind of didn't want to initially, because I actually was super into him, and I thought that this might actually go somewhere. I thought I'd, try something new and, not go home with him on the first night. But then we got to talking, and he was kind of you're a little person, and we've had a lot to drink, you probably shouldn't drive. He was you should just come back to my place, we can just watch a movie, you can sober up. He was no funny business, I promise. And so I decided, okay, but really I was okay. So we get into his car and we're driving, listening to music, everything is fine, and then there's kind of a lull in conversation. This man looks at me and says, if you had to choose, would you rather be raped or murdered?
Bombastic side eye.
Let's thank God you are alive to tell this story, because I've watched too many serial documentaries, and let me tell you, they be going on those sites, okay, those apps. That's where they get most of their victims. And because they are not tied to you, who will know? Okay, it will take the police a tedious amount of time and energy to find them. So please be careful out here. The serial they are on these dating sites. The serial are on Tinder. So be very careful.
Y'all, when I tell you that my entire body went cold. I felt all of the hair was standing up on the back of my neck. I didn't know what to say. So finally I just said, why would you ask me that? And he looks at me, smiles, and says, it's a game. All of the things that were like running through my head at that moment, like I was thinking about my parents and like how upset that they would be if like this is how I went out. I started thinking about like how fast the car was moving and that like realistically I couldn't tuck and roll out of the car at like the speeds we were going. I saw that there was a light coming up in the distance and it was green, but we were kind of a ways away and I was familiar with the road, so I kind of thought, well, hopefully the car like gets there at the red light and then I can just run, like I can just get out of the car and run. But then I thought, what if he has child locks on the car and I try to get out of the car and then he'll know that I was trying to escape. So I thought I would just try to like appease him for the rest of the ride, and I looked at him and I just said, oh, is this like a pick your own adventure? About to run out of time, so follow and like for part 2.
I think it's quite scary that there are apps where you can go meet people who you've never seen before for the very first time alone, like, because it's a date, right? So they are not expecting you to come with your family or your friends. And if you even come with your friend who is maybe the same sex and this person is strong, they can harm the both of you. Like, I don't know, but like it spooks me out, like that there are apps like this where you can meet people for the very first time and you're expected to go meet them alone. I don't know, it's crazy. Let me know in the comment section if you have this type of feeling. There is a part 2 to this juicy story, so let's get right into it.
So where we left off, we were still in the car. I had just asked him if this was a pick your own adventure. And then he said, just make a decision. And he was not like smiling when he said it. He had a completely serious look on his face. At this point, I kind of started to like, not full on cry, but I definitely started to get like tears in my eyes. I started to feel really, really scared and really emotional. Like I wanted my mom kind of feeling. And I just said to him, like, I don't want to make a decision. Like, I just want to go home. I was like, I'm feeling really uncomfortable. Like, I don't feel good. Like, I just want to go home. He looks at me, doesn't say anything, and just turns up the radio all the way. And also, just side note, the song that was playing was Tighten Up by the Black Keys, which was a great song, which a very, very scary vibe in that moment. The next 5 minutes of the ride before we got to his apartment complex, I just kind of had that thought where I was like, bitch, pull it together. Like, you are not going out like this. Like, you are going home. You are gonna deal with this no matter what happens. This is about survival. As soon as I had that thought, I also had this moment where I realized, like, I will kill this man if I have to. And for the rest of the ride, there was just silence except for the music blaring. Next thing that happens, we pull into his apartment complex. He pulls into a parking spot. The second he put the car in park, I ripped the seatbelt off. I opened the door and I just started speed walking across the parking lot. I don't know why I didn't run. I was speed walking. I can't answer that question. And then I hear him running after me. Like, I actually hear the sound of his shoes on the pavement, like running after me. He catches up to me and he grabs my arm and starts yanking me back towards him. I start screaming at him, like, get the fuck off of me, get the fuck off of me, like, I will call the fucking police, get off of me. He then proceeds to let go of my arm and he grabs the collar of my shirt and he actually ripped my shirt past my shoulder. And as he's ripping at my shirt, he's screaming at me, why are you being so crazy? Why are you being so crazy right now? He tries to tell me, why don't we just go back to my place and have some drinks and relax? And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere with you. So at this point, we're in the parking lot. I'm like screaming at him. My shirt is ripped. I got mascara running down my face. I'm like crying. And then finally, 2 lights in the apartment building that was right there next to us turn on. He immediately notices this. He starts to panic. I can see it. He starts to kind of back away from me, but still trying to convince me to calm down. Next thing I know, I hear a man's voice screaming from the distance and he's saying, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? And I turn around and it's a man and his wife and a dog and they're walking towards us. The man is like, is everything okay? The woman comes over to me. She kind of like takes me over to her. The man walks over, starts talking to him. He's already basically like booked it halfway through the parking lot as soon as that couple came over. The couple waited with me until the Uber came and they talked to me about filing a police report, and that's where it's at.
God literally saved you, okay? God literally sent angels to come and save you, because from what I'm hearing, this man had plans to harm you, okay? And not just like any harm, like it could be detrimental, right? Maybe I'm colloquial, but like make it make sense. This whole idea is like mind-boggling to me, that this is not even her first time actually following people to their homes on the very first day. Like, girl, like, you could have just lost your life for what? He's a doctor, and because he's a doctor, I'm very sure even if he harmed her or did something very bad to her, he would know how to, you know, cover it up, because maybe he knows maybe there's a chemical that you can rub on maybe a carcass and it will not stink. Do you get, like, People are scary. He's a doctor, doesn't mean anything. Like, girl, don't do this again. I hope this story speaks to younger ladies out there, or anybody. Please don't do this, okay? It's very dangerous. You're putting your life at risk. It's not worth it, okay?
Imagine you just graduated, you go on a vacation by yourself just to celebrate, you're on your own in a different country, okay? You go on a dating app to meet someone or meet people to celebrate your birthday with, and you don't even live to see your birthday because of that person? Yeah, story time. Let us begin. So this poor girl's name was Grace. She just graduated and she decided to go to New Zealand for a vacation because she just graduated. Like, that's all women want to do, live their life, but we can't in this fucking world. Grace's birthday is coming up. She's still in New Zealand, so obviously she doesn't know anybody. So she decides to download Tinder so that she can meet new people or just make a friend that she can spend her birthday with, because who wants to spend their birthday alone? Not me. I don't think you do either. Also, keep in mind, she is keeping in contact with her family and her friends. Like, she is speaking to them every single day, updating them every single day, so they know exactly what's going on, where she is, and how she's doing, okay? So she matches with this guy named Jesse, and they decide to hang out and just vibe the day before her birthday. I hate men so much. The day finally comes, they are hanging out. She's now messaging her friends, telling them how great of a time she's having. She's really liking this guy and she's vibing with him. Like, she's really updating them about everything, all the little tea that's going on. Keep in mind, this is the day before her birthday, so her friends are really not thinking nothing of it. They're just happy that she's having a good time with this guy, this random guy. So now the day of her birthday comes, everyone's blowing up her phone, her family, her friends, everyone is just saying happy birthday to her, and nobody hears back from her. No one. Not even her parents. Nobody. So enough time goes by without them hearing from her that they obviously know something is wrong. They do what they need to do to find out where she is and what happened to her. Her family then comes to find out that the night before her birthday, he had brought her to his hotel room, killed her, and tried to hide her body. He basically came in with her in the elevator. You can see it in the surveillance footage, and he just left by himself. He went to go get a shovel. He went to go get a suitcase, which was empty when it came in and packed to the brim when it went out. He got cleaning supplies, and the worst part about it is he really thought he could get away with it, because what in your right mind did you think was gonna happen?
I think this is confirming that there are a lot of dusties on these dating apps, but there are also potential serial out there on these social media apps. Now, I'm not victim blaming, okay? I'll never do that, because no matter what decision she made, she deserves to live, right? But I still don't get it. Like, I have gone to a country that I knew no one, okay, and I stayed at a particular place. I walked around, okay, I saw things, but it did not cross my mind, or I didn't say, let me download, Tinder to find foreigners, because I know human beings are scary. Like, no, you give everybody the chance to have access to you. This is what they will do. They'll disrespect you, they'll harm you. He doesn't really know you. Like, your life is just like not that valuable, right? And he knows you are new, so if he harm you, he knows he can easily do it, okay? Because you are not even a citizen of the country that you lost your life in. This is crazy. This is a very sad story. Very, very sad. I saw the news and I was like, oh my god, she's so cute, so pretty. Like, she just finished school. Like, she had a whole life ahead of her, but because of the creeps on these dating apps, she's gone. Like, she's gone.
So I guess Tinder horror stories are all the rave right now, and I think this one's going to be tough to beat, okay? So I was talking to this girl for a couple days. We decided to get together, go out and get an appetizer. So I meet her, she looks like her photo's perfect. We sit down, and without me getting a word in, this girl starts going off telling me about how most of her family members are in mental institutions with schizophrenia. Then she tells me this morbid story about watching her best friend die because he was driving drunk. Then she tells me that if she was to ever get pregnant, that she would keep it if it's a boy, but she wouldn't keep it if it's a girl, because she doesn't want to raise a girl in this society. So at this point, I excuse myself to the washroom, and I'm standing there looking at myself in the mirror, like, bro, like, you should just leave. Just walk out the door, it's fine. But I was like, no, I invited her out, I'm gonna see this through, I'll, like, pay the bill. So I go sit back down, and the food comes, and I've had like 2 or 3 bites, and she goes, "Do you know what eczema is?" And I'm like, yeah, that's like that rash that people get. She's like, "Yeah, so I have that on my feet." And I'm like, "Oh, like, sorry, like, whatever, like, it's not a big deal, people get it." And she's like, "Want to see?" I'm like, "No, not really, like, I'm eating right now." And she pulls out her phone and she starts showing me photos of the most disgusting, rotten feet I have ever seen. Oh, I'm still so traumatized. Anyway, I'm like, "Please stop, like, I don't want to see this right now." And she just, like, keeps putting the phone in my face and be like, no, look. And at this point, I'm like, this is a prank. Like, somebody has hired her. Maybe she knows one of my exes or something like that. Like, there's no way. But she just wouldn't stop. So anyway, I'd like, get the bill, pay it, and I'm like, it's time to go. So I'm waiting with her for her Uber to come at this point. And now she's, like, trying to come home with me. And I'm like, no, like, this did not go well. Like, it's time for you to leave.
This could be a prank, or we have to know the age of this person. Maybe the frontal lobe is not yet developed, or she's just trying to sabotage him because maybe she saw him, right? And she's like, I don't think I really like this guy, or like, I don't like what I'm seeing, so let me do something to sabotage him so that I can easily, get rid of him. But she was also trying to go to his house, so I don't know.
One time I was talking to this guy on Bumble and he wanted to go on a first date and he wanted to go on a hike. And I know that's like a new thing now that people want to go on a hike and don't want to get a drink, don't want to do that. I was like, okay, that's fine, but I don't want to go on a hike. I don't want to go in the middle of nowhere in the woods with someone that I don't know. I was like, well, how about a park or something? He's like, no, I want to go on a hike. And I was like, okay, you're going to go on a hike by yourself then. I'm not going into the woods or into the middle of nowhere with someone I don't even know, sir. And he was like, all right, well, we can go for a drive then. I'm like, I don't want to go for a drive. If I didn't want to go on a hike, I don't want to go for a drive. I do not want to be alone with you, sir. That is not what we're going to do on a first date. Hello, people are crazy. So then he was like super pushy about it, and I thought that was weird. And then he was like, well, that's fine, we can go to this park then, I'll pick you up, what's your address? And I was like, absolutely not, I'm not giving you my address, you're a stranger. And he was like, why I want to be a gentleman, why won't you let me pick you up? And I was like, you can be a gentleman in a million ways, and you being super pushy right now is not the way to be a gentleman. I am not giving you my address. And he was like super aggressive about it. So then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna block you, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. So I blocked him on Bumble. Now, he didn't have my full name, he didn't have my phone number. All of a sudden I get this Facebook message, and he was like, hey, sorry, I'm in the CVS parking lot, someone pulled up next to me. He was like, hey, why did you block me? And I was like, bro, this is why I blocked you. First of all, you were super aggressive. You want to meet in the middle of nowhere. Second of all, you want my address. You're like, want to pick me up, whatever. And now you found me on Facebook. I do not know how. Like, I blocked you, and unless you had my images saved and then you Google image search me after, like, why did you even have my picture? Like, how could you even find me after Bumble? So then I blocked him on Facebook, and he finds me on Instagram. And I was like, bro, you are boo, 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 like setting off all sorts of alarms. So then I got back on Bumble, and I like reported him to Bumble, and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. He seems super creepy. He's super pushy about a first date. He wants to meet a first date in the middle of nowhere. He wants to meet in the woods. He wants to go for a drive, whatever. Now he's found me on all of these different forms of social media. So I blocked him. I blocked him here. I blocked him on all forms of social media that I can. And then I didn't hear from him again, but I was like, this is a little sketchy. So I have the guy's like information, and I am always like watching the news to see if maybe he pops up as like a serial or something. But I think I might post him on one of those Are We Dating the Same Guys and just be like, hey, alert, alarms, like watch out for this dude because he wants to meet you in the middle of nowhere, wants your address, and then he gets really angry if you don't give it to him.
I think there's a theme for all the ladies on these dating apps. The fear is, I'm going to meet someone that is going to, unalive me. But for the men, it seems like you are just worried about creeps and maybe catfishing and like, maybe she's a gold digger. But like, women are actually scared for their lives on these dating apps. This is a crazy world we live in. If you have these dating apps, please be very careful, okay? If you can go, like, meeting the person on the first day, if you can go with 3 or 4, like, friends, men, strong people, please do, because it looks like there's a trend on here. Like, all the ladies are kind of meeting potential serial on here, and it's crazy. Like, this world is crazy, man. And I also don't understand, like, why has the world become so comfortable? Like, we rather meet people on our phones than to meet actual people, like in our real lives. You see everybody on their phone, everybody's pressing their phones, everybody's on social media, like clicking away, jiggy. But when we meet people outside, we are like, oh, he gives me an ick. But look at the people we are meeting online. It's the same people giving icks. I would advocate that people should try to meet people in person more than on these social media apps. Dating sites like Craigslist, Tinder, all these places are very dangerous. There are a lot of serial documentaries I've watched where they met their victims on these apps. Please be careful out there, both men and women. Please be very careful. Let me know, do you have any scary stories from Tinder? Like, you can share it in the comment section, okay? We would love to know it and we would like to discuss it. I'll see you next time, okay? But until then, my loves, God loves you. I love you. Bye.